their name, let's hear more about. Okay, no problem. I'll start. Hello, everyone. We're delighted to welcome you all to the first installment of the brand new season 4 of How You Got Placed, aka HYP. I, Aditya, will be your host for this episode. We have two extraordinary guests with us today, each from very first, second batch of BCS to pass out from IIIT Gwalior. With several accolades and achievements to their name, let's hear more about incredible journey of our two guests, Saniya Arora ma'am and Nymika Pasnoori ma'am. To begin with, I request both of you to give a brief introduction about yourselves so that our viewers can get to know more about our guests. Starting with Nymika ma'am.
Hi everyone, I'm Nymika, currently in final year computer science at IIITM Gwalior. So I have done a summer internship in Samsung Research Institute last year and currently interning at BNY Mellon Corporation, known as the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation. I have received full-time offers from Microsoft, BNY Mellon and Samsung Research Institute.
Hey everyone, I am Saniya and same as Nymika, I am also from the 4-year BTech CSE batch of IIIT Gwalior. I did my summer internships at Google and Twitter and I have full-time offers from both the organizations and currently I'm interning at Headout.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Sane ma'am, you are currently interning at Headout. You've been a Microsoft Engage 21 mentee, were a software engineering intern at Google and Twitter, and received a full-time job offer from both Google and Twitter. So tell us about your experiences at these organizations. How did you come across these opportunities, and what were your requirements for the interviews?
Okay, so maybe I'll start in a chronological order, like how I got to know about the opportunities. So, I mean, it was majorly just like, LinkedIn and friends telling you about the opportunities. But a few things that I would like to emphasize on a little would be networking, first of all. Again, not saying here that it is a necessity or a sufficient thing, but networking helped me a lot while not just for searching for internships, but also while preparing for them. You text a lot of people maybe on LinkedIn, on Twitter, who you do not know, and majority of them do not reply or just reply the bare minimum question you ask. But you never know where you can, you find that one or two people who go that extra mile just to answer the question that you didn't even know you had. So like they'll help you in a way which you didn't even think. So just finding those people and making a professional relationship with them, that goes a really long way. So that was one thing that I always emphasize when I talk to anyone about finding internships or jobs. But yeah, like, so the interview process was pretty straightforward. Like we had two DSA round at Google after online coding round, and at Twitter we had like one DSA round, one round with core subjects, and the last round with engineering manager, which was more like about the resume, my previous interns, my projects, and then some HR questions like your personality, your strengths and weaknesses, etc. But if I talk about the experience, and please stop me if I go too long, but I cannot just, say how lucky I have been to have found the best set of people at all the three organizations. Like currently I'm at Head Out, even there, it's just been 2 weeks. But
Yes.
everywhere the people I've met, my mentors, my teammates, they've been so encouraging, so helpful. And, especially during my first intern, you get this feeling that you have to go there and prove yourself to everyone that you're worthy of being there, you can do the work, you haven't just landed there by luck. I mean, obviously luck is a big factor, but still you have that feeling. At all the three organizations, my teammates never made me feel so. Like after a very short period of time, it was them helping me prove my worth to maybe someone else if needed, like maybe some senior engineer or something. They always let me take the lead. They always there were things obviously which I didn't know they did, so they won't straight away tell me that Sanya, this is the way you should do it because of so and so reason. They'll just pose questions, they'll let me think about it, let me come to the conclusion so that I learn in the process and not just code something, like code a specific problem statement which has been given. So yeah, it was a really great experience, and it's just going with the Head Out as well. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Now going to Namika ma'am. So Namika ma'am, you interned at Samsung and currently interning at BNY Mellon. and received full-time offers from both Samsung and BNY Mellon as well as Microsoft. So kindly tell us about the interview process. What were all the job requirements and your overall experience at these organizations?
So I got my Samsung intern pretty early. It was on campus, and at the beginning of third year, it was around August 2020. So Samsung was like the second or third company which came to our campus. So getting it that start was actually very happy. It made us very happy. It made me very happy. So coming to the hiring process, the first round was a resume shortlist round, and then an online coding test. We had to solve around 3 questions within 70 minutes, and after this round, some 12 students were shortlisted, and then there were 2 interviews, one technical, one HR. There were purely data based and algorithm based interviews. So they asked about resume projects, few puzzles to solve. I would also suggest everyone to take a glance on GFG puzzles because we keep concentrating on data structures, algorithms, and those little things make a big difference when it comes to shortlisting. So that one, and I worked in the networks division of Samsung. Our team was called as the call software team. I had to like develop and test some call summary log features, simply said. So the internship experience was very good. It was the best 2 months summer I have ever spent. And then, as Saniya said, everything's the same. People are extremely helpful everywhere. They keep helping you, and you can ask everything. You are free to tell your opinions and everything. And coming to BNY, no, at the end of Samsung internship, there was another coding test for PPO actually. 2 questions for 1 hour, and again 2 interviews, coding questions and questions about the project we did also. And those results combined with the feedback from manager, I got the PPO. And then coming to BNY, BN was actually it was an off-campus opportunity first, and it is an investment firm with offices in Pune and Chennai. So the first shortlisting was a coding round, 3 questions in 2.5 hours, and then second was also a coding round that included software fundamentals. So software fundamentals are also important in coding rounds, not only just interviews. So 10 MCQs, one coding question, and an SQL question. Then I was selected for interviews. Interviews went on for about 2 months. 2 technical interviews, one bar raiser round. Bar raiser round was actually pretty different. It had questions about divisibility, which we learned in our school, and personal questions. And I would also suggest everyone to read about the company when you're going to an interview because it has been asked to me. Tell me something about BNY Mellon. What do you know about it? And it also concentrated on OOPS a lot compared to other interviews I've given. And I'm currently working in the Authorization Service Division, Enterprise Entitlements. And my current work is actually based on compiler theory, if you have studied it in your college. So, right, this is also extremely wonderful. People are always helpful, teams are always good, fun activities and all are always there.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, since both of you have grabbed a PPO, what, according to you, is the secret of converting an internship into a full-time offer? As it was a work from home experience, how did you manage to be in the limelight during the internship?
Sania?
Sanya,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So, like, one thing I'd say is everyone who is there, like an intern with us, they were equally good, if not much, much, much more better. So,
Yes.
the thing, it's not really a limelight, but like at Google, how the PPA process goes is this year it was a little different. So, they were focusing a lot more on the project feedbacks, but every year they like have a necessary coding DSA round for PPO conversions. So, one thing which really helped me a lot was continuously keep like asking for feedbacks. So like at the beginning I was a little scared to interact with my mentors. Like if I ask silly doubts they'll judge me, and if I ask for feedbacks too frequently they'll think I'm just doing it for namesake so that you be a good intern and all of that. But as the time passed by at Google and at Twitter, it felt like if you actually make them feel that you are interested in improving yourself, and if we are like interested in actually learning what they tell you, they'll be more than happy to guide you in the very littlest things there. Like they might not even be related to your project directly, But in general, if you talk about how things can be optimized, so at both the places I was much more involved in the backend side. And so they'll just tell you how servers can be more optimized, how latencies can be reduced, and apart from obviously the like major obvious things like good coding practices and all of that. And once you get the feedback, one thing is to make sure that you always act upon them. It shouldn't feel like they're just telling you something and you hear it but you disregard it, or you just you get the same feedback next time. That obviously won't make a good impression. So yeah, that is one thing that I'll say makes, the little things in your behavior, your persistence, your dedication, or those little things do make a lot of difference while they're judging you as on the basis of a project.
So, adding on to what Saniya said, the secret is what everyone knows, everyone says only. Keep contact with your managers, show them what you have done, give your best, communicate with them. And I would like to say, like whenever you are stuck at something, just don't directly say you're stuck. Show what you have done. See, I've done till here. I've done this one. This worked, but I'm stuck here, and therefore I'm coming to you. Show them you have your dedication, you are involving 100%. And if they point out mistakes, how do you respond? That also comes into place. Like, do you feel rigid and defend your actions, or do you actually take those suggestions and implement in your project? Your work ethic, like if you're enthusiastic or not, all these make a difference. And actually, it's also important that they feel that it is comfortable to work with you as an employee later when you join them. So once they feel that, then it is all good. You are ready for PPO.
Right. And adding to the point which Nymika said about actually preparing yourself when you're going to ask questions, one thing I would add is documenting your progress can also be one good thing, because at both my interns, they had like this mid-eval and final evaluations to assess our progress during the internships. So maintaining a good documentation about what you've been doing. If you were stuck, so like even documenting it down, like what you did, then whom you approached, what they suggested, how you took that hint or that suggestion forward. And then even during the project, like what were your different ideas which you presented, what were the pros and cons, etc. So documenting stuff in detail can really help a lot during the mid evaluations or the final evaluations. So yeah, that is also one thing.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Naimika ma'am, you were a candidate in the highly sought after Microsoft Engage Mentorship program in 2021. What was your journey like in this mentorship and takeaways from it?
So starting from the beginning of my journey, I actually got a mail from Microsoft University team regarding this Engage program. It is being conducted for final years for the first time. So it is basically a 3-week mentorship program during the whole month of November for final year students only. And there you get to work on a project with getting mentored by the software engineers at Microsoft. So the first round was a resume short. After registration, there was a mail saying my resume got shortlisted. So the first round was the resume shortlist one, and then there was a coding round, 2 questions I guess in 1 to 1.5 hour, and then after clearing the coding round, I got a mail that we are now into the Engage. So Engage was actually a very good program. It actually helps us to upskill while learning along with them. We actually had some leadership talks and ask me anything sessions. The main focus was to incorporate agile methodology in your project you're working on. The theme was to make a project which helps students during their lockdown. And we got our mentors, like I said, our mentors were great. He was actually transparent and saying how what outcomes are expected from me, and he gave me constant feedback. So after presenting my project, I was one of the few students who got the opportunity to interview for the software engineer role. There were 3 interviews, all coding based only, but the last round had my project demo and project discussion. So, one takeaway I would say from this project is, so there is the sentence, never say no to yourself, let others say no to you. So, this experience has been one of the biggest proof I can say. So, do not let an amazing opportunity slide just because you're afraid to let yourself fail. Go on, keep trying, do the best you can, and also embrace the possibility of not passing the interviews. Learn from them, take it in, and use it in your next interviews.
Hello, just a minute. I'm really sorry. Okay, Saniya ma'am, you've been in the Google Software Product Sprint cohort of 2020. You were also a Microsoft Engage Mentee, as well as attended at the coveted Twitter Developer Program in 2020. Could you throw some light on your experiences and learnings from this program?
Yeah, so like much like what Nymika said, is Google Software Product Sprint, that is SPS program, is also a lot similar. Like they assign one Googler to a team of four mentees, and we have to work on a project during a time duration of 1 month. So like SPS is more of like an invite based program. So what happened was I applied for the step internships for the Singapore location back when I was in second year in the month of October, and I got straight away rejected. But then second time I applied for a similar, like the same program, that is SEP program, but for the India location. And what happened was my interviews went well, but they did not have the enough headcount. So what headcount is, like they have a specific number, that like the number of interns that they have to hire, and that number was like it reached its limit. So my HR told me that even though your interviews went fine, we could not proceed with having you as an intern, as a step intern. So as a continuation with that feedback, like a positive feedback which I got from there, 70 students were invited for the software product sprint program. These were like pre-final and final year students who either performed well previously in Google interviews but could not get the internships, or something around that light itself. And it went on in a similar way. We worked on projects, and we had sessions going on throughout the month, which included sessions on good coding practices, agile development, and it included sessions on new Google technologies like gRPC, protobufs, etc. Then by the end of it, they also had sessions around resumes, like creating good resumes, and interviews, like how to prepare for Google interviews. So like resume 101 and preparing for interview 101. And after that, like once we were done with the presentations of our projects, a few of the students from that cohort of 70 people were selected to again appear for SWE internship interviews for Google itself. So yeah, so like it allowed me sort of to give interviews at Google three times in less than a year. That was one big takeaway, obviously, because getting an interview itself was a little dicey for me. And then yeah, I mean, apart from that, as I mentioned, during the internship, similar to that, our mentor was continuously giving us feedbacks and letting us know the things which could not directly be implemented to the project, because obviously it was a small scale project, like mostly how we make our learning projects in college. But he used to tell us like, if you incorporate this, maybe if you're taking this at a larger scale someday, and this is how you can improve things, this is how you can do better, this is how your system can perform better. And obviously he always told us to maintain good coding practices. Like even though it was a very small scale project, he would tell us to, like, have proper comments, have variable names done properly, maintain a GitHub repository properly. So all of those things where, like, he made us work like professionals even though it was a very small scale project. So yeah, that was about SPS. And Twitter Developer, as the name sort of suggests, was a 2-day conference for female women in tech, and it was majorly focused on pre-final and final year students, and like 30 students were selected after like a resume shortlisting process. And it more or less went around like the culture at Twitter, what are the major problems that they solve, what are the technological innovations are happening around Twitter, inclusion and diversity, and like, so yeah, I mean, those major sessions were there. And it ended with a coding competition where, like, we had a coding competition. The top participants, like the top rankers from which got a chance to interview for Twitter. So yes.
Another coding practice I would like to add on to your projects. So this is what my mentor suggested me. He made us do class diagrams to the project. So class diagrams are what we read in our oops and courses, but then incorporating that into our project, it actually gives the judges a high level view of that you know your concepts, you know your databases. So doing class diagrams were a big plus to your projects.
Yep, and that will also help you if, like, if during your intern or your full time, you are sometime making a design document of your project. So class diagrams will also help there. So yes, a big plus one to that point.
And you actually have something to talk about in your interview, like to showcase aside from the code also.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Moving to next question. This question is actually like from like this is a question that is most sort of like the freshers have this confusion in like how important is academics and the role of CGPA in general. How can one maintain a good CGPA while developing their technical skills? So, Saniya, Saniya, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, just to say this might look not such a good answer to the freshers of our college, but CG is not something you should really be focusing upon until unless you have plans of going for masters. I mean, surely for masters they do look for a good CG, but if you're just planning on entering the corporate world, maintaining a bare minimum which can get you past the initial screening rounds, which is like some companies have a threshold of 6.57 CG. If you just pass that, it's good enough because like during the course of 4 years I felt that not every subject is of interest to everyone or helps everyone. I mean, we had this subject called system biology and we had to learn about I don't know what human cardiology system, digestive system and whatnot. It might be helpful to people who are working in the field of AI, replicating human systems and all of that, but not for everyone. That was something I was running away from in 11th and 12th when I took maths. So, and like many more subjects, like I am not interested in a lot of subjects which are there in the curriculum. So not doing well in them is not something which tells that you are not a good engineer of sorts or something. So focus on it, like don't let it go steep so low that you cannot even sit for the interviews. But until unless you are focusing on masters, having like a 9 plus a 9.5 plus something is not really a necessity. But then if you want to maintain, it can easily be done like with overnight studies. You do not really need to study the whole semester if you want to have a good CG. I mean, that's good if you're interested, but that's not really necessary if you want to maintain a good CG.
So yes to everything what Sanya said, and I can add that working hard in first semester is the only best way you can maintain your pointer. Because how hard you study later in the later sems, it makes only a little difference. So that one base which you set in your first semester is what makes the difference for all the 4 years. So study hard in your first semester and just do preparing for other things from the next years. But then having a minimum eligibility criteria is important. Many companies do have that 6 point, some companies have 6.5, Microsoft had 7.5, and some companies have 8. So just have this eligibility criteria, and then it's everyone are equal once you cross that one. During the interviews or during the internship, no one asks what your CG is. Everyone are same later. So just have that base.
Okay, ma'am. So next question. Ma'am, how would you visualize your captivating 4-year journey starting as a fresher and ending up successfully placed at respective companies? Nymika, ma'am?
Yes, my journey would be a little different to Sania's because when I joined in my first year, everything was new to me. C, development, no idea about CS fundamentals, no 11th and 12th basics on computers. So, yeah, when students like Sania were strengthening their algorithms, I was understanding the basic data structures. So yeah, it was very initially it was tough. I did a little bit of coding in the college contests and code chef contests, but then I couldn't be consistent in coding. Then I ASF IQs are a big plus to everyone. Do attend ASF IQs. They give us a lot of knowledge about the ongoing different technologies and domains. So yes, I started web development then through the HYQ only. Later, I put my leg into everything: machine learning, blockchain, security. Did projects in each one, but then majority were of development. And then a whole coding journey began when I was in my fourth semester. I spent my whole day working on coding platforms like Lead Code, Geeks for Geeks. I made a lot of mistakes, but then there were people like Saniya, YouTube, and a lot of seniors to help when you're stuck. So people are always there to help you, and they're just a message away. So you get a lot of rejections in these 4 years. I know that, I have been there. So it is a long journey of self doubt, sacrifices, discipline to get this chance. So this has been my 4 year journey.
I mean, for my journey, I've like one point that I really resonate with Namika over here is even my journey was really indecisive and confusing. So I was jumping my tech stacks every few months. I think like I didn't really change my field as such. Like I wasn't jumping between machine learning, blockchain, or the different technologies. I sort of found my interest in the backend and the systems architecture and all of that. But like even in that, like people, you find people who are very well versed with Node or they know everything about Django, maybe some specific tech stack out there or framework out there. But I was jumping here and there every few months, and a lot of people did tell me, like you should not be doing that. It's sort of like master of all trades, sorry, jack of all trades, master of none type of thing. And I mean, I agreed with them. It wasn't that I didn't agree or I didn't want to follow that, but I couldn't get myself to just like one tech stack so much that I'd stick with it, or I wouldn't want to explore anything else. And even in the later years, if I'd find something interesting apart from backend development, like apart from systems thingy, so like when I was doing my intern, I got sort of interested in data engineering, like the amalgamation of data engineering and software engineering part of site and something like that. So I just keep switching and jumping here and there. But one thing that I really got to learn from that was reading documentations. If nothing else, I can now at least quickly go through documentation and get a little bit well versed with the language enough so that I can work. Like, if not work, I can just understand the code, and that has really helped me in the different internships because all the three of the internships that I'm doing have had very different tech stacks. So I think that was one plus that I got from there. But if I talk about my 4 years, majorly I'd give it to the fests and the clubs that I've been a part of. Fest, organizing fest, being a part of it, interacting with seniors. It's the major thing of my 4 year journey that I'm going to miss the most after like a few months. Majority of the bonds that I've made with my seniors, with my batchmates, or with my juniors have been through these fests, organizing them, just going to seniors when something goes wrong, going out with them, partying, going for sponsorships and whatnot. It was just the most amazing part of my 4 year journey. And similarly, like for ASF, I was a part of ASF, so that was like a family in college to me. The most like memorable experiences I've had.
Okay, ma'am. Following this question, we have a really interesting question. What are your most memorable moments in college life? How would you summarize your college life?
I mean, okay, so if I just continue with my last answer, so like fest, organizing fest, be it in Portsmouth, be it Orway, then coming to ASF, organizing events here, and I'll take this moment to shout out about Hackstack. All of you guys, please go register for Hackstack. It's a hackathon that ASF is organizing, so I'll take this opportunity for that. But yes, bonds with people. I've met so many amazing seniors here. Not just the fun part, they've guided me so much about a lot of things in the professional world. It's like majority of the things that I've been doing, it's because of some or the other senior. If they weren't there, I couldn't have found out about opportunities, about things that I should be doing. So yeah, it's the best part if you think, in a leisure way, in a fun way, or in a professional way. I mean, I am even a little scared that, because of these online things, fests have, like, people don't really know what fests are, how they're organized. And if this continues, I really feel bad. I mean, I really want the juniors to continue the tradition of Infotserve and Aurora and all of the fests that we have. Urja and all of them, yes.
Yeah, so with everything with Sania said, all the fairs, seniors, So you get to meet a lot of seniors who help you in your later stages, like to get to your interview preparation or to making decisions or how to choose when when you have multiple offers. This happened with me. So how to choose what to consider and what not. So seniors come into place here. They help you, they guide you, they tell you about various opportunities happening where you can participate and get advantage. So participate in all the events, try to participate in most of the events, go to all the events which are happening. You get a lot of parties from seniors, and I had this south group separately. So there we had a more lot of events like ugadi and everything. There is a separate freshers party for all the south again. There is parichai for all. So I was so one of the best memorable moment is I was the best performer when we were in our first year. And so that I got to organize Parichai when I was in my second year for the juniors. So that whole month was so exciting. We went shopping, did a lot of tasks and everything. These are some moments which you remember. I do not remember any other uh, coursework related activity happening in third sem apart from this Parichai work. So they make this difference. And I was also a part of SGM, Student Gyan Movement. So we take classes to underprivileged students. This used to happen when we were offline, but then we couldn't do it now. So I was a teacher, and I also got a best teacher award, like one of the best teachers in my first year. So this was actually a great stress relief to me. Some little kids from all the underprivileged schools used to come to us, and I used to teach mathematics for ninth and 10th students. So the happiness and that proud moment when you solve a little kid's ninth class problem, and that those are all the memorable moments which I'll take from this 4 years.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. This is going to be the last question for today's episode. How far do you think IIITM has come as an institute since you joined, and where do you see it standing in the next 5 years?
So now the opportunity engage or Saniya's Google, Twitter, these are all off campus. So one thing I can say, in the next 5 years, IIITM might get all these on campus. The students might get more benefits if these are all on campus, because only we both were there in Engage this year. But if it was like if Microsoft had come on campus, there would be many more students. So I would see this one taking place in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if we see for the past 5 years, like I remember our seniors telling that didn't used to be a tradition of doing internships in the pre-final year. People would just directly prepare for jobs. And similarly, Harita ma'am, which who was in fourth year when we were in first year, she was the first one to crack GSOC from our college. But now, if we see, all like, there are people in GSOC, MLH, LFX from all the batches, people are doing internships much before the pre-final year itself. So, I mean, if the trend keeps on going, people even might have full-time offers before their final year. But one thing, again, as I mentioned before, one thing that I'm scared of is this job thing also is also becoming a rat race, and people will stop enjoying the 4 years. Actually, they'll just, I have to learn this, I have to learn that, I have to do an internship, I have to get a job. Obviously, that is one good part, but even the people who enjoyed for all the 4 years of their college, who have the most memories, did get a very good placement in their final year. So if you just do a little bit of consistent work throughout your 4 years and do not, if you're not sitting in your room for all of the day, all of the years, that's also fine. Like you will still get a very good placement and you will have a lot of memories to share of about your college. So, do take part in fest. I mean, one thing that I relate to with Fest is not just fun and memories, but also like a little bit of boost to my personality. Because if I was in the PR team, that is the public relations team, or if I was in the sponsorship team, I sort of learned from my seniors how to talk to people, how to convince them about your thought process, how to put forward your thought process. So that was one good part as well. But obviously, you cannot just pick and choose to do the good things, the beneficial things. So do take part in such fun activities as well. Just don't sit around doing work all day. So yeah, but I mean, the juniors are going pretty crazy steep curve, so that's great.
Okay, so this was the last question, and now we'll be taking few questions from the comment box. So let's go. Okay, so we have the first question here. Ma'am, what are the mistakes which usually first years once commit which affect their placement? So, ma'am, what were your mistakes and how did you corrected them and work upon them? Sane, ma'am.
Uh, I won't say there are mistakes which would affect your final placements. I mean, there are mistakes you tend to get demotivated very early. That is one thing I'd say. You just don't like a bit of it and then you just leave everything. I cannot do this anymore. That can surely be one thing, but I can assure that there are no mistakes in first year, second year, which would affect your final placement. If you can be just preparing for whole of a fourth year or fifth year if you're from the 5 year program and still get a very good placement. So don't be afraid in taking steps out of the very straightforward way which people pave, and taking risks. You should not be afraid of that. There isn't anything that can go wrong which will make a blunder for the rest of your future. You will be devastated or anything. It's all good. It's all chill.
First 2 years are there to take risks, explore everything, try
Right.
out everything. You might like it or not. Try out everything, do everything. There is nothing which will affect your placements, what you do in your first and second years. Don't be afraid to let yourself fall.
Yeah, one mistake surely would be to not explore things. I mean, because you do
Yes.
not literally, you do not get a lot of opportunities of exploring once you're into the corporate environment. I mean, now that I think of it, I feel if I would have gotten a little bit of more time, I might have explored a little things here and there. But when you get into a job, you have this commitment, and getting out of that commitment just to explore stuff is a little bit difficult. Like currently, as I'm interning in a startup, so I really wanted to explore the startup culture, and I feel I've already gotten late, maybe, but just take those 4 years to explore. Don't go for a specific goal just on the one straight way.
Yeah, and some things might work for some people and some things don't work for some people. So just don't take someone's word for it. You go and try it.
And don't get unnecessarily stressed out, please. It's all chill, it's all good. Everything will turn out really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be taking few more questions. Okay, so there's a question. Difference between WFH startup internship that people usually do in their first or second year and the full-time internship at MNC. So what's your take on this, Sanema?
I mean, if we're talking about startups or MNCs, there's a pretty huge difference. I did my internships with MNCs during the pre-final and final year summers. That is where things are very organized, and you have a very specific pipeline of things going forward. If be it the review process, be it your work, like how you assigned work, how you're supposed to do your work, that's very streamlined and very fixed. It's very rigid. You cannot make a lot of difference to that. But interning in a startup, it's really different because you are given one role. Maybe you are a back end person, maybe you're a front end person, but you get to do a whole lot of stuff. You can still be helping with infrastructure people. You can still be helping with the front end people. Like currently I'm in the back end team, but I can still go and maybe check out the front end teams, or even outside the technological departments you can still go and help there. And if I talk about even like if the very first internships that you get, that those are pretty much different, because those are very small organizations mostly, but there you get to take the ownership, to take the initiative. That is one really good part of working in startups. So yes, that you won't get in MNCs, like to take the ownership by yourself of the project that you're doing, or making a lot of impact with your project. Like at both the organizations, even though my projects were good, they were a very tiny part of the whole product that we were working on. And here I've just been at head out for 2 weeks, and my code might go live the next week. So yeah, that is one difference.
Okay, so any more questions if you have? Okay, so we have another question. Ma'am, would you like to answer this? What do you think about people who at academic, like people don't take academic seriously and then they realize later in life, in my case, I have done BTech and got so many backlogs. Now what?
Uh, Sorry, I didn't get the question. Namika, did you get the question?
No, no, I also didn't question. So he got backlogs, and now what is he supposed to do?
In my,
No, I
uh,
didn't get it.
okay, we can skip this question if you want. Uh, is CP compulsory for placement or intern? Okay, ma'am, this is like a really personal question. Is CP compulsory for placement or just intern?
Yeah, I would say CP is not compulsory. So that is one straight sentence. CP is not compulsory. It only helps you if you are working on CP for a substantial amount of time, say 6 months. You can't just get into CP and then try to get benefits from that. And first of all, you need to be interested to actually work for 6 months. It's not for everyone. Just like development is not for everyone, just like all the other domains, CP is not for everyone. Try it if you like it, go into it, and it is different from interview preparation. So if you don't like it, don't worry. You can directly do interview preparation, interview programming. That is also fine. That is okay.
Sania, ma'am?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, competitive programming is not necessary at all, and you do not even need to be an expert in CP to get the benefits of it. I mean, I was interested in coding, I was interested in solving problems, but I was never interested up to a point that I just given my day and night to solve questions and maybe become a candidate master or something. I did not have that much patience or that much maybe I was not able to solve that those many questions, but still, since I was interested in a little bit of problem solving domain, doing CP for a little while, I mean, I didn't do it continuously. That was one of my mistakes. I dropped it in between, and then when I started again, I had to pick it from the very start. But that did help me a little bit in building up my logic. So when I was finally preparing for the interviews, those logical, that mindset that I had gained from solving a few months of code forces or code chef did give me a little bit of benefit. But that doesn't mean that people who do not do CP will not make it through the interviews. There's nothing like that. So it's all good. And if you're interested, you can surely try it and try it for as long as you like. If you are interested, please try to be a little consistent so that you actually get the benefits out of it and you do not have to start from the very scratch every time you get down to code forces or any such website.
Thank you, ma'am. And okay, ma'am, this is not a question, but Alti ma'am has actually asked, why are you both so awesome? So why,
Because the
like,
peers are so
I
awesome.
okay. And your comments on CP versus DSA and development. I guess this would be the last question if you have anything to say upon this.
Yeah, I mean, so CP versus DSA versus development is a very personal choice, I feel. Everyone has different interest. You can be interested in CP and do not do development at all. Will not suggest that doing like it should not be that you're doing either just complete development or complete DSA. I have seen people who have obviously gotten very successful by doing just one of them, but then you need to be really, really good in what you're doing. For people like me who are little interested in this, little interested in that, doing everything a little bit, so you should have some good projects and you should have a little bit good hold over DSA so that you can crack the interviews and obviously projects so that you can get your resume like shortlisted. So do what you feel like, but do something. Just don't sit idle and do nothing. At least if you're towards more towards the development side, make some good projects, and those ones should not be like the very traditional trivial projects. Let it be something which you have put your own idea into, because in my experience, the as I told, there was an engineering manager around at Twitter. They were not interested in the implementations a lot of times. They were actually interested in how I thought of the idea, what was my idea behind implementing it that specific way that I did. Why didn't I choose any of the algorithm, any other design for my project? So those are also the things that people are interested in, and they get pretty impressed if you have done your thinking right. So just don't do the basic trivial projects. Maybe try and make something, that maybe you find a problem, and like how you do at hackathons, you can try that approach as well. Participate in hackathons a lot. That is one good thing if you are into development, and if you're into coding, obviously keep participating in contests. Namika, anything I missed?
Namika, yes, ma'am. Namika, ma'am.
Nothing. Everything you said is apt, and I would say like even if you're like I can't get to speak for CP people because I was not into competitive programming a lot. But then the reason I started development was that there is something to show in your interview, showcase what you did, how you did. So that was the reason I started my development journey. And then that's it. So actually, be sure of what you are doing and why you are doing. Things like why SQL and no SQL is the most important question asked for any developer. That is the first question they ask you. It was asked to me a lot of times. Concepts like these little things, why this, why not that, why this algorithm, make yourself. Don't just do what everyone are doing and take those projects, but then think of everything, think of why this, and give your personal touch to your projects. And even the reason of why that project is also important, I think. The problem statement, the objective, the motivation of why you started that project. Choose that projects which interests you, and you can actually explain them to your interviews or whoever.
Thank you, ma'am. So, this is going to be the last question from the comment section. Uh, I have no idea about computer science and development from where I can start. So, this is the last question. Namika,
Yeah,
ma'am, you want to
yeah.
continue?
So this the world we are right now has so many opportunities. There are many YouTube playlists, roadmaps, and whatnot. So many blogs, so many YouTube start to end, so many Udemy courses. There is everything right now you can do on your own. You have your laptop, you have your internet connection, then you can do everything. I suggest go search, research, ask people, see on LinkedIn what's happening right now, and start yourself. It's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but then you can do it.
One thing I would like to add here is please keep talking to people, your batchmates, your juniors, your seniors. Be it your junior, even don't hesitate to talk to your juniors if they're, you think they're better in a specific domain. Because just by conversations, we can pick up so many keywords which we can later search. Because that's how I tend to do things. I have a group of really awesome people around me everywhere, like be it batchmates, be it my seniors, and just talking to them about what their views are on different things, what they think is going on. When they're talking about some latest technology, be it blockchain, Bitcoin, I had no clue about what blockchain is. Everything I've picked about blockchain is from my batchmates, Guna, maybe from my seniors like Shubhankar sir, Tiwari ma'am. Like, they kept talking, and I would just pick words from their conversations and maybe search it later to get a little bit of idea. So just normal conversations can also help you a lot in getting up to pace with things which you might not know already.
Have a nice circle. Keep be with those people who are motivated as you are. Try together. Doing things together actually helps. And even for the off-campus opportunities, you need to compete with people beyond your college. So try as a group. Start with a group. Do then you get a lot of motivation from them and also a lot of new knowledge. So I would suggest everything is possible online right now. There are many coding groups actually, many coding clubs apart from the college where you can actually join, listen to those sessions and everything. That's it.
Okay, so ma'am, we're ending our session. Any advice you have for like freshers of our college and your juniors? Any advice you want to give? Any add on?
First of all, enjoy. Obviously, just do not get into work. Second thing, picking up from the previous conversations, please do not get competitive among yourselves. You are not the only ones competing among you're not competing with your friends, so do not try to hide your progress, what you're doing, how you're doing. Do not hide that from your friends. You might even get to know a few things which you did not know with through conversations. So you are competing with a much 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 bigger audience. So like, just keep sharing, it'll help you grow and also your friends. So yes, and apart from that, please keep going the fest. I mean, please keep organizing fest. That should not die.
Yeah, even I'm also afraid of the hostel things we used to do. Now everything is dying out. Now after we pass out, how will the juniors know everything? Because when we were in first year only, that happened. We couldn't even experience it in our second year. We were already in our homes. So I think talk to your seniors, see what they did, and try to do that one. Talk to people. And actually there are a lot of seniors who would give anything to help you. I had a lot of seniors who helped me, and even we are ready right now to help you people. So come forward, ask us questions, spend time, and take all the benefits you can get from everyone.
And not just professional questions, we are also open for fun conversations. If we are there, send us a meet link, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Definitely, ma'am. And so that's it. As we come to an end of this session, we'd like to thank both of you for your time and insights. They were truly helpful, and we wish you all the best for a great future ahead with more dates to come.
And I would like to thank you for taking our interview, and Uthaan for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us both here.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, we've come to the end of this evening, but we have more such installments in store for you. So don't forget to tune in to the next episode of HYP, where we'll have with us Abhishek Garayan sir and Himanshi Kalra ma'am, giving us a plethora of new experiences, tips, and success stories. Also, a big thanks to the audience for staying with us till the end. That's it from HYP episode 1. Goodbye and have a nice day.